Hi, this is Robin with Crazy Art, and we're going to show you how to make the tiger band buddy. And as you can see, he's a lot of fun, and you're going to also learn some new and different techniques. So what you're going to do for the face of the tiger is you're going to set up the loom like you do with all the other band buddies, with the posts looking like they're an upside down U. And what we'll be doing is we'll be setting up the bands from the top going down, and then picking and looming from the bottom going up, so you don't have to change the direction of your loom at all. So now what we're going to show you how to do is the ears and the nose, which doesn't use the loom but just uses the hook. Now to do the ears, we're going to use the hook, and what's great about this hook is that we're going to be using both sides of it. So this is a neat trick. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take an orange and a black band, and you're going to twist it 2 or 3 times on the hook, whatever you feel comfortable with. You're then going to take 3 bands, white, black, and orange, because if you look at a tiger, there is white in his ears. And you're going to pull those, and you're going to take those ones that you twisted, and you're going to pull it over onto the bands. So just, whoops, go work that over. All right, so see how that's sitting between the bands? What you're going to now do is take your fingers and fold that, and so now it's sitting on your hook. You're now going to take another set of the 3 bands, 1 white, 1 orange, and 1 black, and this is where the neat little trick comes in. This is to make a larger rounded ear. You're going to hold on to those bands, but instead of moving the whole thing onto the bands, you're just going to do 1/2. So you take this half and you fold that and you fold that over. So see what we have? See, it looks almost like a funny looking M. Now you're going to take this and slide it to the other side. It's a little thicker, but you can do it. All right? Because now we want to do what we did on this end on this end. So again, we're going to take a black, a white, and an orange. You're going to put that on this end, and you're going to move these bands off of it and then double it back over. So what we're going to end up having is, I'll move it down to this side so you can see. See how we've done now a little loop here and a loop here, but see how now his ear is more rounded? And that's because you've used both ends of the hook. So what we're going to do is finish it off by taking 2 orange bands, and just like you had done with the first ones, what you're going to do is you're going to pull this and you're going to pull down on this. Now this takes some practice, but you can do it. And what you're going to do is, see how I've turned the hook? You're going to move that through all those loops. See how now they're all between all those loops? Then you're going to hold on to that, fold it over, and there's an ear. Doesn't that look like an ear? So you're going to do 2 of those. Then the other thing that you're going to do is we're going to make a dimensional nose. And to do the nose, I'll just pull this off for now. To do the nose, we're going to take a pink band, and we're going to take 2 orange bands. Oops. And we're going to push that through the bands. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one side, the loop on the one side of the bead, and then hold on to the bead and stretch so the other 2 loops go on. So see, they're on like that. You're then going to take 2 more bands, and just like we had done with the ears, you're going to take just one end, and you're going to go over the hook, and then take those loops that were here and go on here. So see, we have the little U there, and then you're going to move it to the other side and stretch that out. So see, we have these 2 bands here. We need to put 2 with that. So we're going to put 2 more bands on the opposite end. We're going to take these loops, take that off, take these loops, and fold it up on itself. So now when we go to the end, see how we have a bigger nose there? So what's going to happen when we set it up his little nose is going to sit right out. So then what you're going to do, again, take 2 orange bands, and like we had shown with the ears, you're going to twist it through the loop and double it. So see his nose? Now that sticks out a lot. Now if you want, you don't have to do as many bands. If you want to just make it a smaller nose, you can go back to what we were doing before, and you just had that on there. And then what you can do is just take the 2 bands, so then here's a littler nose. So see, you can have a lot of fun with that. So what we're going to do is you're going to do 2 of the ears on with the crochet hook, and then 1 nose, and then we're going to get ready to set up the tiger face. All right, so you have your ears and the nose ready to go, and so now we're going to set up the face. So what you're going to do is you're going to add on 2 locking bands. So there's a black and an orange band, and what that does is that's going to be used when you're finished doing your picking and looming, and that's going to lock all the bands together. So it's important, it's a neat trick to keep it, put it on there first to keep it there so you're not trying to add it on later. So trust me when I say that. So we're now going to add 2 different colors, and this is what's fun about the tiger, how you're going to be able to mix the colors together to give the look of the stripes. So we're going to take a black and an orange, 2 bands, and through this whole thing you're using 2 bands. And that's going from the center to the left, and then another black and orange going to the right. Now we have our ears that we're going to add on. So you have them sitting on your hook, and what you're going to do is if you pull them, you see how the loops open up? You can put your finger on there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the ears and put it on that top post. And what you're going to do, and this is a technique that you're going to do with a lot of the band buddies, you're then going to take 2 more bands and you're going to stretch it from that top to the next band, to the next post, and you're going to stretch and slide the ear so it's sitting on the band between those 2 posts. So you're going to do the same thing for the other side. So we're going to stretch it and work off of the crochet hook, and you're going to put it on that the top band over, or the top post over here. You're then going to take an orange and a black band. You're going to place it from that top post to the next one underneath it, and then you pull and slide off the other ear. So now his ears are set up. So when you loom, you're not going to have as many bands that you're going to have to worry about. So what we're going to do is take another 2, an orange and black down the center. You're going to do 2 more. And then on the left and the right side, you're going to do another set of black and orange on the left and black and orange on the right. Now if you take a look at a tiger, which I looked at some pictures, and it's fun to look at the pictures sometimes, you're going to see his nose is really basically orange. So I'm going to use 2 orange bands, and that's later on you're going to see that's kind of where his nose is. So you'll see on the left and the right are 2 sets of black and orange, and then going down the center are 2 sets of black and orange and 1 set of 2 orange. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to white. So we're going to use 2 bands of white, and you're going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and go down the right side. 1, 2, 3, and down the center. Again, 2 bands of white. 1, 2, and 3. Now, just as an aside, sometimes if you get more advanced in making the bands and making your band buddies, you may want to make a rounder face. So what you would do is you would loom separately strips of 3 bands with a stopper band and with the other rubber band, and you can hook them on here. and then when you lock them in place, it'll make a much rounder face. But we really like the look of this one, so we're going to just keep going. So now we're ready. You can tell where the bottom of the face is, and you're going to go from the left post to the center, and then you're going to go from the right post to the center. And what we're going to now do is we're going to add a stopper band. And a stopper band is when you take a band that is just a single band, and you're going to twist it on itself 2 or 3 times. And you're going to take that stopper band and you're going to put that on the center bottom piece. Because what you're going to do is when you loom out and up, that stopper band is going to keep those bands from coming apart. So that's an important thing to have. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the nose and the eyes. Now for the nose, we had already done the nose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add him on the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to add him, we're going to pull him off the hook. And this is when you use your fingers. All right. And we're going to put that between these 2 posts. So see where his nose is? Now we're also going to take 2 black pony beads, and you're going to push those beads, the bands through the beads. So what you're going to do is, it's a little tight, so sometimes what you can do is you can take the hook and that'll hold it from the beads pushing through to the pushing off the other side, and you just push those through. Little hands probably can do this better than bigger hands. All right. And what you're going to do is you're going to take those eyes and you're going to stretch those bands across. Come on. There we go. You're going to push those bands across right above the two posts where the nose was. That's where you're going to put the eyes. All right. So see, then you separate the eyes between the 2. So see how it separates it? All right. So now what we have the ears up here, we have the eyes, the nose, and we're going to add some connector bands. And what connector bands do is it helps to keep the face together. Otherwise, you would just have like 3 stripes of bands. So what you're going to do is, now we want to keep this more rounded, so all you're going to do is take and make like a triangle with 1 band each time. So since we have the white here, we're going to do white, and up top we'll do orange. So we'll just do 1 connector band up here. So now take a look carefully at your loom and see if it matches with what we have here. That you have your locking bands up here, the ears between the 2 posts sitting on the bands. We have your eyes, the nose that we did. You have your stopper band here and your connector bands. And if that's what yours looks like, then you're going to be ready to loom. All right. So now what we're going to do is, as we talked before, when you set up the bands, you go from the top down, and when you loom, you pick and loom, you go from the bottom up. But it's great because you kept the loom in the same spot. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that stopper band and you're going to pull it back. Now sometimes what you can even do is you can put it on the post back there so it's out of your way. And so what you're going to do is the last bands that you put on your loom are the first bands you're going to pick off. So in this case, it's the one on the right was the last one on, so it's the first one that you loom. So you're going to pull those bands off to the right. You're going to take the one on the left and you're going to go over diagonal to the left one, and you're taking the center one and you're going back. So basically what you're doing, as you probably know, is you're folding them back on themselves. So then you can carefully, don't just let it shoot, you carefully put this back in place. So now what we're going to do is push back a little bit and you're going to dig in, get those bands that are there, and you're going to go forward. And you'll see whenever you have your connecting bands, there were ones here, you make sure your connecting band is behind the hook, and then you dig in there, give it a wiggle, and loom it forward. So you're going to put it on the next one. Now you'll see like the nose, those bands act as a connector band. So again, what you can do, you can put your fingers in if you want to help you to separate it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And you just go forward. And you're going to do the same thing with the eyes. That connector band is behind it. Whoop. And see, now remember you have an orange and black, so that's going forward. And then that goes, so go to the top right where the ear was connected and stop there, and then go and do the same on the right side. So you're going to pick those bands just the way we did on the left. And the reason that you go from the left side and the right side, or the right side to the left side, you do the outside rows first. So that what that does is it locks in all these bands. So then when you do the center ones, they're not going to come off. So that's a good way to make it easier for you. And so that you have a lot of success. So now what's left, see, you can tell the ones that we've loomed because they look like upside down raindrops. So now what we're going to do is do the center and go up. Now a little trick that you can do is you can move the nose up, and what that's going to do is that's going to help it to stick out a little more. And so then what you do is you move him back in place, and then you finish going up the center. So just these different little tips so that you know different ways that you can work with the bands. And in time, you're going to understand how the bands work depending on how you place them, how many you put in place, and things like that. And then you're going to be able to even make more things. So now you can take a look and you see how everything looks like a raindrop. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the locking band. Now for the locking band, see, we have all these bands here, but before, see, I almost did this. Don't forget, you do the diagonal bands. See, I almost blew it. Don't forget your diagonal bands to go to the center. Now you're ready to do your locking bands. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pull these bands out a little bit, and when you dig in, you're going to get those two bands that are closest to the post, and you're going to wiggle those out. And now you're going to have two sets of bands, and these are the same bands, it's just that they're folded. And so what you're going to do is you're going to lock that in place by taking the top bands and pulling it off and down. And what that does is these bands are now locked on themselves. And so what it's now wrapped around all those top bands so that when you pull this off the loom, it's not going to come apart. So what you're now going to do is you're just going to carefully pull this off the loom. And here's your tiger. Now we're going to show you how you can add some whiskers to him. All right, so now we're going to add on the whiskers. So if you look at your tiger and you put his face on the side, you're going to see you have these bands over here. So what you can do is you can take your hook and you can go through just the two, but I like to go through both sides. So you can go through both sides. Oh, get that. All right. Now you're going to take a single white band and you're going to put that on your hook and you're going to push through. So now you have the bands on both sides of the face. See? So now you're going to double it up on yourself here. So just like you did the locking band here, you're going to move that band over and off this loop. And then you give it a pull. And see what happens? Now you have a whisker. So you're going to do the same thing. Do two more. So you have 3 bands on either side. So again, pull. And do the third one. And then what you can do, you can leave them loopy like this, but it's a little more fun if you take scissors or have a parent or adult help. So what you're going to do is cut the end where the loop goes around. See where the loop is? And see now how you have 6 little crazy whiskers. So then you're going to do that to both sides, and there's your tiger.